Okay, today we are talking about the 1962 and 1963 Loudon High School football team that won 21 games in a row. And today we have Raymond Stamey and Peno Campbell, who were members of that team. Raymond was a team captain in the 63 season. He was the leading rusher for both of those teams in 62 and 63. Tell me about the community that you grew up in and the grammar schools that you attended.
Well, I went to Sticky. Luckily, I went to the new Sticky. It has just been finished, the new Sticky. And so, you know, all my brothers played ball before me, played baseball and basketball there. Of course, didn't play football. And I didn't have no other choice to play sport, you know, because I was around it my whole life. Mm-hmm. And so, anyway, you know, it was a tough time for us. I lost my mom when I was in the first grade. Mm-hmm. That put me 1 year behind in school. But Dad, he had 6 boys and 2 girls. Lost his wife with, you know, my older sister and brother had married and was gone. But he said I got up one Monday morning and it raining and bad weather and the kids had gone to school. Mom was gone. 3 in high school, 3 in lower grades. He said I got 6 kids just to raise. Told those boys, if you don't care to work, you can have something someday. If you don't want to work, you don't deserve nothing. And so anyway, he stayed in there with us and taught us to work. And he kept us in school, wouldn't let us lay out of school, and took us to church every Sunday. And I thought, what a dad!
Yeah,
what a man he was, and never remarried, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, sports was an outlet for us boys. And he said, I don't know, told Coach Riley, where do these boys get to play ball? I never played ball game in my life, he said. But anyway, we used to go over when it was snowing and shoot basketball. And I just, you know, my brother's bigger than me. Reed was a great athlete. John was a big brother. He was defensive and offensive.
We'll talk about the brothers here in a little bit.
And so, anyway, with Sticky was the place I started playing basketball. When, you know, basketball is a sport you need to start early for basic fundamentals. So I started at A team, B team, and the C team, and I was on the C team. So, you know, and we'd play all the teams in Loudon, another city, and have a tournament in March, you know, and so anyway, it helped me a lot because that way, good in high school, I got to make the team as a freshman, you know, and had a good team. Mm-hmm. Robert Merle, Glenn Humbert, Jimmy Klein. It's just really, and it was an honor just to get to make the team.
Sure.
And that was good. That was a blessing to me to get to make the team. And
So you were a good old sticky boy then.
I was an old sticky boy. And we had a gym. We didn't have a gym, but we had a cafeteria. And it's big enough to put a goal in each room. So Jackson and Davis, when we played, we always come to our gym. Now Philadelphia had a gym, and Loudon and Nichols and Leonard City, some of them had a gym.
Browder.
And Browder didn't have a gym. But when we scheduled Davis and Jackson, we'd always play a sticky, you know. Mm-hmm. But that was an experience, you know.
Sure.
That was a good experience.
Yeah.
And
now, Peno, you played fullback on those 62 and 63 teams.
On the 63 team, I did.
Okay.
On the 62 team, I played inside linebacker, and of course, I was on all the specialty teams and that. But in 63, just when I moved to fullback on offense, and then linebacker on defense. But now there was a lot of reasonings behind all that. Mm-hmm. If you look at that 62 team and everybody we had on that team. Yeah.
So you were the lead blocker for Raymond. That's why you got all those yards, right?
Actually, I was, you know.
Yeah. Well, tell me about the community you grew up in, the grammar school.
Well, I was raised here in town. I was raised on Cedar Street, 619 Cedar Street, matter of fact. Like I was talking a little bit earlier, you know. The Hawkinses, they all lived on one side of the gully, and the Campbells lived on the other side, except over on the corner house. Now that's where Miss Arnwine lived,
Okay.
And our yards went to hers, and then back in the back, back in you had all these alleyways that still they was traveled a lot back then, and had the Thompson boys lived down there in the alley. Bill Thompson and Groundhog, as you probably have heard him called, but he lived down there. But we went to school at Loudon Elementary School out there. We'd walk out the road 2 blocks, walk out the road to the school, and I know you've had other people in here before, but it was always strange to me is we would go out and start the school, and then I'd see my black friends come out and go up on the highway or go somewhere, or we'll go down to Dunbar. I watched that for a while, and I could never understand, why it was like that. I just a way of life, and that's the way people were, and that's what they wanted to do. I had no idea that they actually couldn't go to school with us. It took several years after that.
Yeah.
But now we played ball all the time. King Black had a open loft there beside his house, which was right on the other side of the gully from where we was all raised up at. Every Saturday or Sunday, we'd have a football game down there, and there'd be 25 or 30 kids down there. They'd come all the way out of Needmore and all the way from the other end of town and everywhere. We'd all gather down there and have a big blast,
That was Ernie's dad, right?
Huh?
King was Ernie's dad.
Yeah,
correct?
that was Ernie's daddy. Sure was. And but we didn't have time to get into much meanness. Really we didn't, because everybody had sports on their mind. And like Raymond was talking, we was raised up to play ball of some kind, if not all of it. And that's what we did. We played ball. Actually, I preferred baseball. But we didn't have that opportunity later on, when we got in high school. They didn't have no baseball teams or nothing like that no more. So baseball kind of went by the wayside. And but that did leave football. And man, I was a lover of football. But it was a good life. It was an easy life. I'll say that. We didn't struggle. We didn't have gobs of stuff or anything like that. But we had plenty of food to eat, and we had clothes, and it was because my dad, he was a construction worker, and back then he was gone all week.
What was your dad's name?
Pete.
Yeah.
He would come back on late Friday nights, and he'd be home all weekend, and he'd get up and go again. And that went on for a long time in our life. Of course, Mama always had that list made out, what we'd done, good or bad. And so Daddy, he addressed that normally about the first thing he did when he got home. So we knew that we better be right.
Yeah.
We was all gonna get the kids in the neighborhood, they'd line up out there to listen to us hollering and screaming going on up there on that back porch, because he whipped us with my grandpa's razor strop. It hung right there on the wall of the bathroom. Pop would come out and he'd grab a hold of that razor strop and he'd come out there on that pow. Boy. Yeah, he'd wear us out with that thing. But yeah, we stayed busy. We had, it's strange, people, you didn't think too much about it, but it was almost like we was living in the country. Honestly it was, because the whole back side of our place was a big old lot, and it was all in vegetables. We had our grapevines, we had our pecan trees, we had our peach trees, we had our apple trees.
Yeah.
I mean, that's strung out all over that place, And I've thought many times about it. What I called, or what we used to call the rolling store. It was a truck come by the house once a week, twice a week maybe. We'd get the milk off of them. We'd get cheeses off of them, stuff like that.
Was it
eggs,
somebody from Loudon who operated that?
Yeah, one of them was Mr. Perkins. He did that. Okay. He'd come through there and we'd buy stuff off of him, And there was another one, I can't think of that guy's name, but there was another one. And I know they'd get all that stuff and put it in one of these little old homemade, handmade baskets that you see in places. They'd put that stuff in that basket and they'd come to the house and bring it in, and then grandma or whoever was there to receive it, they'd take it and put it in their little thing, and then there she'd go. There's a lady done that, and she'd go back out to the truck and take off out through there.
Some of them called them peddlers, didn't they?
Yeah.
Ours come out of Barnhorde.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we called them rolling stores. That's what we called them. Yeah.
Well, both Raymond and Peno have had a family heritage in Loudon football. So we're going to talk about that now. First, Raymond, from 1952 through 1964, there was at least one Stamey brother who played Loudon football. Starting with Homer, and then Reed, then John, and finally Raymond, who graduated in '64. Tell me about your brothers as players.
Well, they might have been a year or two when my brothers just played 2 years of football, but anyway, we went for probably 12 or 14 years. My daddy had a boy on the football team with Loudon.
Yeah.
But my brother Homer started first, and then he graduated, and Reed started, and he played football, baseball, and basketball. They had it all then, and he started in every one of them. So he was the best athlete of the family, no doubt. One that scored 62 points in a basketball game one time. But anyway, then John, he was my big brother. He played defense and offensive end, and he was a captain of the football team. And he played basketball 4 years too, and Reed. And then I come along, I had a lot of shoes to fill, because here I had 3 brothers to play.
Yeah.
And somebody said, well, he'll play because his brothers. And, well, they didn't know Coach Trout. They just didn't know who your brothers was or your daddy. If you didn't make a team, you didn't start, did you, Peno?
No.
And
we didn't.
so,
Sure did.
So here we came along, and, we just had a mediocre team for the first freshman, sophomore year, and then, we had a bunch of kids come out and stayed, and then we had a couple of boys, Welton Rustin, Carlos Evans, they came out. And their junior year, we thought, well, Coach said we're going to have a pretty good team, but we didn't dream we was going to have a team it turned out to be. And sophomore year, mid high school, kid will grow fast, and material, and man, they said, even one of my brothers said, we'll see what you guys got. You got to go to Alcoa Friday night. We just put it on, and
We'll talk a little bit more about the '62 and '63 seasons.
And so that was and Dad, that was out for us boys to playing football.
Sure.
Had to work hard on the farm, haul hay, cut tobacco, taught us to work, and that was just a good experience for me.
Sure.
to be on that team.
Was there a lot of pride between you and your brothers being football players and athletes?
They were. There were a lot of support each other, and our brothers, they all come to see us play. And my dad, he didn't start coming to the ball games until Reed got in school, because gosh, he was working. He was had worked public work and had a farm, and he was so busy, and then he started coming to the games. And,
Yeah, you probably were the best of those brothers, so more than likely. I know you had over 1,300 yards rushing your junior year, and then over 1,200 your senior year. Was there any sibling rivalries between y'all, saying I'm better?
Oh no, none, never heard it, never did, never really and truly. And my brothers just supported me so much,
Yeah.
And here I lost my mom when I was in first grade, and it was tough.
Sure.
Being raised up with no mom, Back then, your daddies didn't hug you and tell you they loved you, even though they did so
Right.
much. It showed it in so many ways.
Yeah.
And it was tough, but getting to play basketball from the time I was knee high, and then we played baseball at Sticky too, and then it started coming to Loudon and playing 7th and 8th grade football, on the league team down here. And then I got in high school, I was ready to go, But had a lot of encouragement from my brothers and my family.
There wasn't a little league at that time when y'all were playing, was it?
No, there's a baseball. We had baseball. I used to come to John, his brother. We played Little League Baseball.
Okay.
And and then football we had I started 7th grade, come to town playing football. Now that helped get you started
Sure.
to football.
Now on the 62 team, there were 3 Campbell brothers on the squad.
That's correct.
Yep.
Johnny, Dennis, and you, Peno.
Yeah.
Tell me about your brothers, Johnny and Dennis.
Well, let's start with Johnny. Johnny was he's what I would call a super athletic football player. He had speed that couldn't be matched. He was the fastest guy on the hill up there, you know, all through his career up there. Matter of fact, they kept saying, I just now thought of that guy's name. His name was Talent. And I can't think of his first name, but, you know, everybody kept pitting him and Johnny together, wanting to see who was the fastest. Well, they finally did get together and race, and John did beat him. But I said that to say, but Johnny got hurt. He hurt his shoulder. That's I guess it's something similar to what you call that rotator cuff problem now. But his shoulder would actually come all the way out of place, and it'd end up right down here, you know. And he had that one fixed, and thought he was going to be good for the last couple of years, you know. And then started having problems with the other one. They started doing the same thing. Coach had him, remember them old harnesses he had on him? Had him strapped up, and where those shoulders, he couldn't get his shoulders up no higher than that. He was a tremendous punter. He could punt the football. He was real good at doing that. And now he played all the way up through, but that 63 team, no, the 62 team, but he was limited on what coach would let him do. Matter of fact, at one time, coach had him playing quarterback back in his younger days. You know, had him playing quarterback, had him playing end, had him playing defensive end, had him playing halfback, and then ended up playing mostly at fullback, what today they would have called a tailback, you know. But he was good. Now, Dink, if he hadn't have come down with a diabetic disease that he came down with, and because he had to quit right after that, and if he hadn't have come down with that, then I think that he would have probably been able to went to college anywhere he wanted to go.
What position did he play?
He played tackle. He was about 260 pounds, 6'1", 6'2" frame at that time, and he was very, very fast for a big lineman.
Yeah.
As well as I know later on we'll talk about Big Joe a little bit too,
Yeah.
but Big Joe was super. But anyhow, and then after that, you know, he just, doctors made him quit. Said, you've got to quit playing ball, you know, because he had to go on this special diet, and he lost almost 100 pounds like in 6 months. But I said all that to say that he was a good athlete. He would have made a tremendous lineman at Loudon High School had he not. But now he kicked extra points all the way through, you know, till the time he had to quit. And he was probably, I don't know, I'm thinking he might have been the first person we ever had to kick extra points other than drop kick.
Is that right?
That's what I'm thinking. Now you can check that out, but yeah, he got him a square-toed shoe, you know, and he done very well. But we were on the football field. We weren't competitive. The three of us was most time doing something different. So we didn't have to compete at all like that.
Yeah.
Growing up at the house, yeah, we were very competitive, you know, all the time. But
so who was the best athlete of the three, you think?
you know, I think Johnny was, and I put myself behind all them. I think those two boys were a better football athlete than I was, because they had some abilities and things going on with them that I didn't necessarily have.
Okay.
I didn't have a tremendous amount of speed. Now, if I had speed, you know, I could have done much better than what I did, but I didn't have it. I didn't have it. But now, playing the linebacking position, now I had quickness, you know, and I could react. Man, I had great reaction time. You know, I could react quick, and it turned out to be a good place for me to play. You know, it was that inside linebacker, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I did. I had a good time doing it too.
And Johnny is such a good athlete. His quickness, his speed, and you know that injury he had. And then Johnny's the only guy saying that at one time had a cramp in both legs, a charter horse in both legs. But Johnny, you know, sometimes some people's injury prone, and he has had some tough luck with bad injuries, didn't he, Peno?
Yeah.
Good athlete, but that really held Johnny back a lot.
Yeah.
Great athlete.
Now, Nat, that was your uncle, correct?
That's my Uncle Nat.
Yeah. And then on that Campbell side, Nat graduated in '58.
Yeah.
And then his son, Sweet Pea in '73, Porky in '75,
Yeah.
and Round Man in '79.
Yeah.
And then you go to another generation, and you have Porky's son, Tyler,
Yeah.
who graduated when I had in class
Yeah.
at Fort Loudon. Those were some pretty good players amongst that crew.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And see that now my son, he played too. My son also played. He played for 2 years.
Okay.
You know, and then things happened and he didn't play any longer. But he played 2 years out there too.
Okay.
You know?
I forgot about it.
Yeah, he played, you know, with Joy Ford and Brian Nichols.
Oh yeah.
All them boys.
I remember him tennis.
Oh yeah. He went after that tennis ball. He did. He sure, and basketball. He played for Coach Watson.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of basketball.